Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to CSL Greater Boston. My name is Gina Colvario Krupka, and I am blessed to be the spiritual director here in Greater Boston. We are here in Medford today, and what a blessing it is to see all of these lovely faces, these wonderful souls that are just divine lights. So, wherever you are, come and visit us. Come and visit us here in Medford and have some fun with us. We are a beautiful teaching that the CSL actually is part of religious science, and what we teach is the science of mind. And that is a combination of philosophy, science, and religion. So a little bit of everything good comes together to create magic in our lives. And the theme this month, if you haven't had a chance to watch, yet last week's message is the body. Last week we talked about the body temple and how we honor it, or sometimes not so much. So it's learning how this month to be mindful of honoring ourselves in amazing ways. So today's topic, along the same lines, is to know thyself, because it's hard to make those changes if we're not acknowledging. So it gives us an opportunity to know ourselves better so we can act in an affirming way to create the life that we choose. So I am excited today to be in this space, to be in this light that is just, I'm just taking it all in. And we're going to play the first song, which I absolutely love, and it's Inner Space. And it's by Marcy Baruch, and it is a sacred, just a sacred knowing of who and whose you are. And I invite you to just listen to these words, just receive them, and then we'll go to prayer.
This inner space has the power to set me free. It's the cavern of creation and the truth of you and me. This inner space, an eternity of time. It's the moment of the holy now and the allness that is mine. This inner space contains all that I need. From deep within the invisible flows the living air I breathe. This inner space is flowing in my bones. It stirs my heart, stirs my mind, and every prayer I've ever known. So I say, breathe.
And this inner space, staying exactly in that beautiful inner space, that perfect peace, we'll have our invocation by the sparkling Barbara Steele, our leadership council president, practitioner, and spiritual director of South Coastal Mass Teaching
Being in
Chapel.
the silence, continuing on in that beautiful music and that vibration of our inner space, allowing that to expand. And so just being in that expanding inner space of love and breathe. And so as I know I am standing in that consciousness and in that flow of infinite and unconditional love, the love of the divine, the one, this one that always has been, is now, and always will be. I know as I stand in that consciousness of oneness with each other and with every living creature, every part of creation that has been created by the divine magnificence, the flow and the vibration and the energy of love is around, through, and as each and every one. And so as we have created that in this sacred service today, as we have come together in that place of love and peace and joy, I know that this time in sacred love and sacred learning and in sacred service just unfold in absolute divine perfection, knowing and believing that all is brought forth in divine right action and divine right timing. I know that everything through this service, our technical ability, our beautiful music, everyone who is here, everyone who is hearing us, it is all good, for we are all one and we are all held in that capsule of love. And for this I am so grateful. I say amen and blessed be, and we join together to affirm this word by saying, and so it is.
Thank you, Barbara. And next we have our spiritual reading, which is our loving Maria.
Oh, completely grounded here on Earth, that Earth energy. So the reading I was asked to do about the theme is the body. And I thought, wow, like the body, there's just so much to the body. Where do I begin and how do I find something? And then I thought, well, I'm going to go to the Science of Mind handbook here. Ernest Holmes, what does he have to say about the body? And there it was. So I'm just going to read a little bit from what he tells us and what to remember about our body. Definition: that which changes, a form within the formless, cause and effect, unity and multiplicity, immortality, a divine mental picture. And that's just his definition there. So we go on. There's a lot. The universe has been called the Great Trinity, or triune unity of spirit, soul, and body. The body being the result, the effect, the objectification of spirit. Soul is the immaterial, the plastic and the receptive medium. It is primordial or cosmic stuff, unmanifest form. Body is the result of spirit working through soul or law. I'm going to say that again because I think that's really important. Body is the result of spirit working through soul or law. The entire manifestation of spirit, both visible and invisible, is the body of God. There is one body of the universe. Within this one body is included all lesser bodies. And I'm going to read another part here that I thought was, all of it is obviously relevant, but this body is always an effect, never a cause. I think that's worthy of saying again too. Body is always an effect, never a cause. Body expresses intelligence, its apparent intelligence being lent by the consciousness which permeates it. We would not say that consciousness is in the body, but rather that the body is in consciousness. If one is unconscious, he is neither pain nor fear. Pain and fear are in consciousness, but consciousness so completely envelopes the body that it appears to be intelligent. I mean, we can probably talk about this for ages. Perhaps the human body is an exact counterpart of an invisible body, which is non-material, as we now understand matter in physical form. The physical body is evolved for the purpose of allowing consciousness to function on this plane. I love that. The physical body is evolved for the purpose of allowing consciousness to function on this plane. The body is necessary to this plane, since only through a physical body can we properly function here. When the body is no longer a fit instrument, the soul deserts it and then continues to function on another plane. To say that the body is unreal is a mistake. It is real, but is an effect, not an entity. It may yet be proven that the mind completely controls the body, and that the body is but a reflection of the mind. In no way would this contradict the reality of the body nor the experience of pain and sickness, but it might help in understanding of these experiences. While we may affirm that the body is not a thing of itself, we cannot say there is no body. The simplest way to think of body is to realize that it is the object manifestation of a subjective mind and consciousness. And if we are to be well and happy, not only the body, but the mind also must be peaceful and harmonious. And there's more. Thank you.
Thank you. So true. You know, the body is always the effect. You know, we often look at it and then try to live our life from that, what we see. But we're missing it. We're chasing our tails. We are that hamster in a wheel when we're trying to catch up with what we see, because we're just perpetuating more of it. And I love the way it started. It's cosmic stuff. I love the technical, you know, Ernest Holmes that can describe anything. It's cosmic stuff. And that's what we are, cosmic stuff. And in that knowing, we're going to listen to the next song we have is it's Do You Know by Laura Copper. She was here a couple of weeks back and she gave us a wonderful message. So As you listen to these words, do you know how beautiful, how wonderful and magnificent you are?
Do you know how beautiful you are? Can you feel the power that you hold? Do you see the light within your heart? Always there for you to have and hold. Have you found the truth in all that is? Will you hold the hand that leads the way? Do you look inside to wake your dreams? Knowing God is everywhere and more. You are the power, it's all inside of you. As you connect within and clear the way, that's all you need to do. I can feel the power that I am. I can hear the voice within my soul, knowing I am God and God is me. I now see the beauty of it all. I am the power, it's all inside of me. As I say my prayers and love each day, my light shines back at me. You have it all, it's there in you. I have it all, it's here in me. I know that you can find the way. You can open your heart today. Right now's the time to realize the love we have within our hearts. Just look inside to know the way. You know the way. We are the power, we have it all as one. We can live each day in love and truth, knowing we are free. We are the power, we have it all, it's true. As we close our eyes and realize love comes shining through. As we close our eyes and realize that's all we have to do.
The power all inside of you. And, you know, I actually am friends with Laura, that I was speaking with her this week on Zoom. She's in the UK. And the beauty was she actually, she we were talking about the first two steps of treatment, which is our affirmative prayer. It's a 5-step process. And, we recognize. Now, whether or not we recognize is up to us. It's always going to be that way. So if the lights are off and I can't see something, doesn't mean it's not there. If I'm not paying attention to it, it doesn't mean it's not there. It just means I'm not paying attention to it. So for how many years, even some today, we won't even get into that, people thought the earth was flat. It didn't make the earth flat. It's just that that was the belief and what we paid attention to. So when we look at recognition and we bring everything back to that oneness, and within that one, I am, because there's nothing outside of that one, it gives us perspective. The one thing that you hear from people that've gone, astronauts that go into outer space, or whoever's taking that trip, the Millionaires Club there, whatever it may be, the one thing they always say is when they look back at the earth and they see this little marble, it just puts everything in perspective. To me, Science of Mind is for that. That's what we do. We don't get caught up in the distraction of what we see. We know what we know, we choose what we want, and then it's picture. One of the things you read probably 3-4 different ways, Maria, this morning. You read again and again. It said body is always an effect, never the cause. So we learn how, and that's the whole point of this. That's why we're always in classes. This is a teaching. This is not a religion. This is a teaching. So that we don't forget to recognize the truth. Truth is unchangeable. Okay, the sun is always going to be there. If I don't look at it, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. If clouds are out one day, it doesn't mean it's not still warming our planet. If someone is born blind, it doesn't mean it doesn't function the same way for them. They get sunburned just the same. Whether they can see it or not is irrelevant. It works the same. How many of us go through life living blind? And it's not our fault. It's not about blame. It's not about shame. It's not about guilt, which you would never know if you were raised in my Italian Catholic household. But it's people are doing the best they can with what they have, and they pass it down according to how they were passed it down. And sometimes that's done in different ways, and sometimes that comes with trauma. Sometimes that comes with tradition, which may be positive and some not as much. Everything is different than it used to be. We're living in a different world. 100 years ago, women couldn't even vote. I mean, really, when you think about the insanity of slavery, when you think of the insanity and where the perspective we are right now, and still trying to make things equal as it's Pride Month, trying to recognize that everyone has the right to love who they want to love. Like, some of that sounds so ridiculous. Actually, all of it sounds ridiculous because we have perspective. 100 years ago, it didn't sound like this. Our job to live the life we choose is to have that perspective. It's to simply go back and recognize. It's why it's step one, I guess, right? And our topic today is to know thyself. And what does that mean? Know thyself. It means that I can recognize my patterns. I can recognize what's working and what isn't. We all have dysfunction or seeming dysfunction in our lives. There are relationships that are very healthy, and there are some not as much. There are relationships that we had 10 years ago that we would never tolerate today. And there are relationships that eventually we will realize don't serve me. If the well is empty, I don't need to keep going back to it. It's up to us to look at our lives and recognize what is giving me what I want and what isn't. Now, when I say want, I don't mean it like the spoiled brat on Christmas morning. Or maybe I do in some ways, but because there's nothing wrong with a little bit of that. I don't look at brat as a bad comment. Just saying. To me, it's fun to be joyfully in that wanting. What do I choose? When we walk into a store and say, what do I choose? When you go clothes shopping, you don't say, what looks mediocre on me? It's what do I want? What looks great? What do I feel good in? That's the life we're choosing. So when we look at life, to me, I look at balance. The life coach in me goes back to this, and I'm sure you've seen a half dozen different stools if you've been following along. I love this concept. We are physical, spiritual, and emotional. That's what we have. Those are our planes. If one is off, can we sit on that stool? So if one of these things is off, what's our life going to look like? We're here. We show up in the morning. We may not be happy. There may be anxiety. There may be frustration. It could show up as poverty. It could show up as shame, guilt, fear. It could show up as weight, alcohol problems. It could show up as dis-ease. When one of those areas are off, when we're feeling off, we are creating that imbalance. Sometimes it's conscious, sometimes it's not. Most of my life was a human doing, not a human being. I rushed into everything and I got my worth. I felt my worth. It wasn't true, but it was the perception that I have. The more I did, the more I accomplished, the happier you were with me, I was worthy. That's where my worthiness came from. I was raised to be a people pleaser. I was raised in an alcoholic home, and there was chaos all around me. So if I could keep people happy and I could put out fires, I was doing what I was supposed to do. Did it serve me? In some ways. I learned a lot. I did a lot. Does it serve me now? Absolutely not. What it ended up doing is it left me with over a dozen tumors in my kidneys. See, what happens is I went and pushed and pushed and pushed till I physically couldn't do anymore. My body fell apart. That was the breaking point. That's what dis-ease is. It's a breaking point when our body can't take anymore, and that leg of the stool just falls off. And I had no choice but to stop doing. And I had to be. And what does that look like? And when you're still for the first time, you recognize some stuff. And there's a lot of emotions behind that. And we all have those moments. Now, some people, it's not disease that does that. It's not that dis-ease. It may be a fight with a loved one. It could show up as grief in a lost relationship. It could show up in grief in a lost loved one, or feeling something's missing. That stop could come in retirement for some people. Empty nesters. When life changes, we are forced to stop and look in a different way. You know, how often do we say, if I knew then what I know now? And the truth is, we couldn't know then because that's how we got here. We wouldn't have to travel that road because, that's where we learned along the way. And I'm a firm believer that there are no wrong ways. There is no mistake. Okay, right out of college, I started a business. It was a total failure. It was absolutely, I look at it now and I think, what was I thinking? But it got me to Rhode Island. It got me my husband. It got me here today because I would have never found these teachings. And I wouldn't be sitting here back in Boston where I grew up if it weren't for the fact that that business was a failure. So sometimes the circuitous route that doesn't feel good is exactly what we need to get to where we need to be. Other times, we can recognize this is what I choose. And we can be divinely focused, calling upon spirit within in that inner space to manifest that perfect right route, letting the universe make the flow easy. Some of us were raised hard work, right? Everything is hard work. If you don't work hard, you're not going to get anywhere in life. So you take the circuitous route a lot because that's what you were taught to do. If you were told it's got to be hard, then you make it hard. But this teaching teaches us if we stay in balance, it doesn't have to be hard. I love the term joyful journey. Finding the joy in the journey is one of my shows my podcast shows, because I think that's the point of life is joy. So we get to choose our route. We get to choose the way we go through things. And we get options. And on the physical plane, when we think of our body isn't just this thing. We don't just have a body, okay? You're not your body. You are that soul within you that this houses, which is what Maria was talking about. But part of our energy, we all know we have an aura and there's all kinds of stuff that goes with that. But part of our energy is what we own, our space. If you're in a cluttered space, that often symbolizes a cluttered mind and creates a cluttered life. If your schedule is constant and on the run, there's a lot less peace usually in that because it's out there. The energy is there, not here. We always start with go within for a reason because everything we need, we were born with. So it's learning how to see the physical and use it as information. It's just data. We collect the data and choose. We recognize. The physical is the easiest plane to tell us if we're going in the wrong direction. If you're cooking and it's burnt, you shut heat down. So the trick is, if you're a cook, not to get to the burnt part, to know what's coming. If you recognize along the way and didn't walk away from the stove, you know to turn it, stir it, do whatever you need to do. But if we're not paying attention, the stool gets wobbly. Or if we're living our life for other people, the stool gets wobbly. Or if we're using false premises that we were taught by other people of another time that did the best they could, but no longer serve us, the stool is wobbly. So we go into that spiritual nature, which is always true. I call it the rumble strip, right? That's the emotions. If you're happy, you're in the right direction. If you're not, you're not. That seek alternate route. Hear that message, hear that beep, hear that, the GPS telling you to move in another direction. Or if you're in a car, a newer car, it beeps if you're going out of the lane. Hear that, feel that. Become in tune and recognize in your body, what does that look like? What does that mean? I love, sorry, it's not this one, close. I love this quote. It says, you can kiss your family and friends goodbye and put miles between you, but you always carry them in your heart, your mind, because you don't just live in the world lives in you. The world lives in you. What does that mean? It means you have every opportunity, anything and everything. You don't have to be beside someone to love someone. You don't have to do things a certain their way, or you don't have to live. There is no limit on your love. Wherever you are, it's all there. We live in a life that basically we live in a world of duality. It's not the truth. There's not spirit in something else. You know, spirit isn't just for Sundays. How many of us were raised, you have to go on Sunday after? I now get to. I walk in and I walk out feeling so much better. And I wonder, why don't other people? I do. And I don't mean that, and there's no judgment in that. I do it for me now. I used to think I had to. There's no have to. Spirit doesn't have an ego. We have the egos. Spirit doesn't have one. If I don't go to the well, I don't drink. Okay, stay thirsty. When you have adult children, you get to the point that you can only tell them things so many times before you say, do it your way. Because it causes you an anxiety to say it again, get crazy. For what? It's their life. They're going to do it their way anyway. And eventually, hopefully they learn and they do it their way. If they need to go the circuitous route, just like we went the circuitous route, so be it. It's with love, but at the same time, we don't get caught up in it. It's the same way with spirit. Lovingly, spirit is waiting for us. Right here, always. And yes, Sunday service is always available, so you can go to a message, you could read a book. You don't have to, it's not just about Sundays, but what feeds your soul helps keep that balance. Look online, look at the news, look at the people around you, look at our society. How many would you say are well balanced? And I don't say this in judgment. It appears very dualistic. People are at each other for everything. For the things they say, for the things that they don't say, for the things that they might say. But I know you're thinking, how many times have you said, I can tell that they were going to, what is that? The truth is, I love you. I don't have to agree with you. But if I don't love you, it is spirit not loving itself. I'm the one that suffers. This topic is so vast. And I actually, to be honest with you, I have so much, and we'll talk more about it this month. But balance is about recognizing. You know, one of the things that I often say in treatments is, because I do, every morning I start my day with a couple of different calls and whatnot. And I am going to keep my hands and feet in the ride today. Because, you know, life is like that flume ride, you know, when you go over, and sometimes you really get splashed. And sometimes it's just fun to watch, but sometimes you really get splashed. Some days we really get splashed. And some days we don't mind. And other days it feels like it's drowning us. I'm going to keep my hands and my feet in the ride. Spirit is directing the sails. Those are my best days because I'm in the flow. It's not that heavy, does it? Let it be easy. Isn't that what we teach? Me fighting against you doesn't change your mind, it just pisses me off. Me loving you might give us a common ground. And it's going to make me feel a whole lot better. And what does that take? Recognition that there is one. There is only one. And when I remember that everything flows from that one, it allows my heart to open. It gives me a source of power. It reminds me of who and whose I am. It reminds me that this is a temple. And I need to love it right here and right now because it is spirit. God lives here. It doesn't live here 10 pounds from now. It doesn't live here when I have more money. It doesn't live here because it's dressed differently or anything else on the outside looks different. This is always the house of divine. And every person I see is a temple. And when I honor you that way, when I look at you and I see the temple in your eyes, I see that light of divine. I see it in me. I remember who I am. So that's what my invitation to you is this week. Remember that everyone we see, even when they piss us off, even when they cut us off, whatever it may be on the highway, whatever it is in life, you love. Recognize that they too, maybe they're the prodigal son, that spirit's waiting to come home. But you don't need to leave your home. You're already there. So let's be that this week. Let's be in that place of knowing we're already in the temple. Let's have a joyful journey. Let's let it be fun. And I am so grateful. Thank you. It's just thank you for being on this ride with me. Let's keep our hands and feet in the ride this week as we move through that next step, that next unfolding of this joyous space. And as we move on, the last thing I have is our affirmation that I want to share with you. And if you can read that with me. I know, trust, and honor all aspects of my life. And one more time, I know, trust, and honor all aspects of my life. Myself, sorry. So knowing that as we move on, we've got some announcements, and we have a beautiful workshop coming up the end of the month, and she is amazing. This is actually led by Lisa Medley, who is a body wisdom expert, and it's going to be right after service. All are welcome. It is also it's going to be Zoom or live, but there's wonderful energy here, and we would love for you to be here with us. Join us again. It's the last Sunday of the month when we have all of our workshops. And know that we are here. We've got some wonderful changes. There's some additions coming up. There's classes that we're going to be announcing soon. We've also got we're working on a midweek program that we're going to start because life is busy and we want to meet you where you are. So we've got some exciting things coming up. But we're able to do this and have this platform and be here together because of people like you, because you're here with us and you are supporting us. So this is our time of sacred circulation. What we give, we receive. And we actually have several ways that we can give. If you've been spiritually fed by our service, know that you can support us, of course, in person. You can use cash or checks. You can also use PayPal. That little scan is actually a scan that you can put your camera up to on your cell phone that takes you right to our PayPal. Or you could go to text to give. And once you set it up that one time, you can go anytime very easily. And our sacred affirmation, if you could say it with me, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. And so it is. And for our final prayer, we have Barbara coming back up. Barbara Pewitt is going to come up, and she's going to do our final treatment. That always begins with recognition.
Oh, and so I stand in that place. Thank you, Gina, for that wonderful message, music, service. Ah, inner self, loving self, expansion, freedom, knowing. All that we have participated in and embodied today. And as I stand in this place of recognition of my own oneness with the divine, knowing there is one Mother, Father, Creator, there is one, and it matters not the name we use, for it is infinite, unconditional love. It is joy and peace, it is wisdom, it is abundance and opulence. And I stand in knowing I am one with this. I am created in this spiritual image and likeness. And so I can claim and accept what it is as who I am. And as I live and move and have my being within this vibration of oneness, spirit is within me. The light of the magnificence is within me. I am a demonstration of it. And so I stand as it in form and in the world on this earth with each other in this moment in time. I stand in recognition of my oneness with all living things. I know that we are created with that one spirit through, around, and as everything. And so standing in this consciousness of oneness with each other and oneness with the divine, I speak this truth of each and everyone here in this moment and all that are hearing our voices and the all. I know that each and every one is standing in the awareness and the recognition and realization of their power, that they are standing in that place of knowing their perfection, knowing their wholeness. Each one is standing on this path and this journey, recognizing the love and support of spiritual community and of each other. And so as each one takes the next step forward on this life experience, I know that spirit goes before them, and it is an easy, joyous path. I know that they don't need to get to the rumple spot, that they recognize when it is clear, that they recognize from their sensitive consciousness when they are living in harmony and in balance. And I claim this harmony and balance for each and every one. I claim the insight and the intuition that they have that is a part of who they are, that sees their way clearly. And as they walk this path filled with joy, filled with love, in recognition of who they are, who they truly are, a creation of the Most High, created perfect, whole, and complete oneness, and standing as the divine presence, as the divine vibration in this form. And so I claim and accept all that has been spoken for each and every one. I declare it and decree it as truth in this moment, right here and right now. I know that as each one floats in this flow and this vibration of love and oneness, it is joyful. And each one is standing in the recognition of that within themselves and within each and every living creature, living every part of creation. And so I am grateful. I am so grateful to know, see, and feel this truth of each and every one in the all. And so I simply breathe it into the law. I place it on the altar of love and the altar of law, like a white rose. With a gentle, easy smile on my face, for I stand in convicted faith, knowing it is the truth of each and every one. And so I simply say amen and blessed be. And we join together in affirming this word by saying, and so it is, and now it is. Thank you.
So it is. Thank you so much. Thank you, Barbara, for that beautiful treatment. And thank you all for being here with us. What a gift it is to be here, present in the presence. And thank you all for being with us, whether you're in your living room watching it live, whether you are watching it on a playback, wherever you are in the world, in this oneness. I thank you. What a blessing it is to know. And our final song I am the place that God shows up. Have a beautiful week. Blessings and love. Namaste.
Am I strong enough to bear the burdens that sometimes come living this thing called life? Am I wise enough to make the right decisions when I'm standing at the fork in the road? Sometimes I wonder and ponder, only to realize I'm not alone, and there's nothing I have to do on my own, because I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. Will I have enough to do the things I need to do to take care of myself? Will I have the health of mind and body to live a life of grace and wholeness? Sometimes I wonder and ponder, only to realize I'm not alone, and there's nothing I have to do on my own, because I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place.
I am the place where God
You
lives,
are the place.
moves and breathes and has
We
its
are the
being.
place
I am the place
where God shows up. I am the place.
I am the place where God
You are the
moves and
place.
breathes and has
We
its
are the
being.
place
I am the place
where God shows up. I want you to clap your hands and sing it with me. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up.
Eddie Watkins, can I have some more of that? Can we have some more of that?